Hey there, welcome back to episode 27 When You're Overwhelmed. I actually feel like this should be I don't even know how many part series on actual human emotions that you will experience as a life coach and as a business coach. I know no other way um, of bringing material to you except that which is authentic and genuine, transparent, and vulnerable. So, you heard from me last week when I shared about feeling unmotivated and feeling uninspired, and how do you take action in your business, not just your life, obviously, when you are feeling those ways, because I'm not going to sugarcoat it for you. You will feel those ways sometimes, and that is normal. And that is actually who you are supposed to be as a coach for your clients, also. Your clients don't want someone who is promising them, sunshine and moon and stars and rainbows and unicorns and daisies. They want someone who is real. And so I know that's why you are here in this space, is that you also would like to hear from someone who has done what you desire to do and is also a real human. So, we're going to talk a little bit about that. This is clearly unplanned, as was last week's episode, unplanned. But here we are in a series we didn't even know about. And this is part two. This is episode 27 When You Are Overwhelmed. Now, before we get into today's episode, I do want to go back to last week, episode 26. What was the title? Unmotivated and uninspired, I believe. In that episode, I said something along the lines of being a mom of five and that not being a rite of passage. Well, what's so funny is my youngest, who is 8, he looked at me, he heard that, and I don't remember. Maybe I was listening to the playback, or maybe I don't know what I was doing, but for some reason I was reviewing that, and he was there and he looked at me. He was like, "What? We're not a rite of passage." Like, he was offended. And I thought, buddy, that's not what I meant. Of course, y'all are like amazing. You're my greatest gifts and treasures. And so I thought, that's interesting that he said that. And then I thought, I better look up, what does the expression rite of passage actually even mean? If you've been around here long enough, you know that I at times just make up languages and words. Always have, always will. My kids, oh, they love it. It is such a treat for them when I make up words. They're like, Mom, that is so ridiculous. But Bray, being the cerebral human that he is, will always point out when I misuse vocabulary. He's like, No, that is actually not what it means. And I'm like, but that's what it means to me, and I'm gonna say how it means to me. Okay, so I looked up rite of passage, and here is what rite of passage means according to the interwebs. Rite of passage, right? Okay, is a ceremony or event marking an important stage in someone's life, especially birth, puberty, marriage, and death. So that's really interesting. I should have asked him about this, the semantics and the language and the expression and the vocabulary, before I recorded this episode. But I would say that being a mom of five is a rite of passage in that it is a event marking an important stage in someone's life. And being a mom of five in this season of their ages and stages is definitely marking an important stage in my life as a mom, as a business owner, as a person, as a wife, etc. So I will say that. Or no, was it? Did I say? Oh gosh, what did I even say last week? Did I say rite of passage? No, y'all. I'm not even gonna have this edited out because this is so hysterical. I think I said badge of honor. Oh my word. That's why he looked at me so odd. Like that it wasn't, being a mom of five wasn't a badge of honor. So I want to go back. I always say this to my friends, my coaching colleagues, and just anyone in general, because I spent so many years of my life walking away from conversations and like regretting something I may have said, or, it's 2 years down the road and something I said 2 years ago, I'm like, I don't actually think that anymore or feel that anymore. So now my like continual disclaimer is, every time I'm talking, I have the right to change my mind. So, I have the right to go back on what I just said, and let me look up I'm gonna look up what does badge of honor actually mean. Okay, so according to the interwebs, badge of honor means a mark or expression of pride. So she wore her mom of 5 life? What would we put here? As a badge of honor or pride. So I think I am going to say A, that being a mom of 5 is a rite of passage as well as a badge of honor. And I say that because when you are looking at someone and we look at all of these people and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm one. Like I have a client in the Christian Life Coach Academy who is about to deliver her 10th child. She's a mom of 10. And I'm like, that's a rite of passage and a badge of honor because she is additionally making money in her coaching business that she works around her schedule because she does also homeschool some of them, not all of them. As a matter of fact, she posted that she joined the Christian Life Coach Academy June 30th and she has made a total of $8,200 since then. Yes, that is almost $10,000 as a mom of 10 in her coaching business while being a stay-at-home mom as well. So that's a rite of passage and definitely a badge of honor. So congrats to you, my friend Katie. That is an incredible example of what's possible to all of us, myself included, because I only have half that number of children. And oh my, let me just share with you what I want to make sure that you know and understand. As a business coach who is also a life coach, I get to do two things in my business life, if you will, that I really love, and that is life coaching and business coaching. Because one thing that I do not claim or promise you as it relates to working together is that everything's going to be super easy and it's going to come automatically, and that you're not going to have to walk through what I call, and my clients will hear me say this, they'll come to me with a situation about their business, right? Posting on social media, um, running a consult, whatever's coming up for them. And at times, I will coach on the action steps to take and some strategy ideas and brainstorm some things together and offer some suggestions. But more than that, they will tell me the feelings that are coming up as it relates to certain things in their business. Typically, feelings of embarrassment or inadequacy or incapability or feeling behind and things like that. And so as I coach on that, I one of my famous expressions, like if I were going to be on a t-shirt, I'll be like, that's where the work is. And so for you and for me, I will always tell you that we will do the work, but the desire that you have for your coaching business and the ways in which you want to work with people that you've been called and created to help in this area that you're passionate about, be it general life coaching, a specific area of life, whatever it is that you are passionate about, the work is going to still be internally for you. Yes, there's external work, and we cover all of it in the Christian Life Coach Academy, but I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to tell you that, you will have A, B, and C in 1, 2, and 3 easy steps. Now, what I do promise you is that you have everything in the academy that you need to create a simple, scalable, and sustainable six-figure business with everything that I have shared with you. And I know that because I've done that. And so that's what I coach you on. And that's how I lead and that's how I teach. However, I am not going to claim that you can have, the world at your, what is that? The world is your oyster. I don't know. Let's apply it to business, right? Here I go again with those expressions. But, the world is not necessarily your oyster in less than 30 days. Can it be done? Is it being done? Yes. But I also want you to give yourself the permission to do the work both internally and externally to build the business that you desire. And it is 100% possible because I have women doing it right now. As a matter of fact, Shelly is another student in the Christian Life Coach Academy who joined in May. And if I said this last week, I'm sorry. I'm going to say it again. But she joined the academy in May. I'm not exactly sure, or maybe the end of April. She launched her life coaching business very shortly after in May. And here we are at whatever the time period is, because I don't have the dates right in front of me, but it's like basically a 3-month period of time. She has made $22,000 as a life coach while working full time in her church ministry position. So these things can be done, and whatever is standing in the way and holding you back is typically internal, and that is the work we will do so that the internal becomes the external, and you are able to go out, tell people you're a life coach, let people know how to work with you, and build this business doing what you love. And so that is what I love, love, love teaching and coaching. And I'm so excited to let you know. Oh my goodness, I still haven't even gotten into this episode, but I don't want to leave you without sharing that the Christian Life Coach Academy is currently open for enrollment. So make your way to my website, thechristianlifecoachacademy.com. You can read everything about it. And what I want to share with you is that the Christian Life Coach Academy is a 12-month business coaching program for life coaches. Now, what this means to you is that you have the skill set for 12 months in your business to help you create that simple, sustainable, and scalable coaching business that you desire. The real value to you is not just the skill set, but actually keeping it simple and not sacrificing the ones you love most to create this business. As a matter of fact, and I just mentioned her a minute ago, but Katie, who I was telling you is pregnant with her 10th, she literally reached out to me just last week or the week before and told me that this is working. She had been going about her business for a year a completely different way. She was burnt out, she was exhausted. She was like, I love doing this. I love helping people. I love contributing to our income as a stay-at-home mom of now 10, almost 10 in this way, but is this truly sustainable? And she said, what you are teaching the academy, it is working. I just had 4 people schedule consults in less than 2 hours. And she said that this content that I have and this new perspective has her lit up because she's seeing how she can do it in a way that's sustainable without sacrificing her family to make it happen. So if you also are wanting to know how to book consults and how to sign clients in a way that is simple and scalable and sustainable, then you need to make your way to the website and enroll now while enrollment is open. With that said, the reason why I'm actually opening enrollment sooner than I anticipated, it's actually set to officially open for enrollment in September, but I am actually hosting a 2-day business retreat outside of Greenville, South Carolina in Anderson. And so in order for you, if you plan to be in the academy for the fall quarter, for you to be able to make your reservations for the hotel, make your travel accommodations and all the things, you actually need to do that now. So I want you to be able to enroll now. So I wanted to go ahead and let you know that before we get into the rest of the episode. However, if you're new around here and you're like, I don't know anything about the Christian Life Coach Academy, I don't know anything about you. Look, I know what it's like to stalk people on the internet and like take in all their free content, their trainings, their voice, their purpose, what they teach, how they coach before you decide, oh, I want to work with that person. I want to be in this community. I want to do this differently, what have you. Then I want to tell you about something I have just made available for you. And that is a series of trainings that I am giving away for free to you. Okay. And so what you'll do is if you would go to, actually, we'll post it here in the show notes. It is a free business belief plan for your business. Like I said, 90%, actually, I didn't give you a percentage, but most of what I share and what I teach you in the Christian Life Coach Academy is all about the thoughts that you think about your business and who God has created you to be. And not in a hippie woo woo way, but truly through a being transformed by the renewing of your mind in what you think about your business and what you've been called and created to do. So it's actually part 1 of a free workshop that I did this summer for the ladies in the academy. So You can opt into that in the show notes below, and you can have access to that free training from there. I'm going to send you a series of other videos and teachings to watch so that you can get so much value for free. And I do hope that one day you will join us in the academy and build your business together because it is truly the place to be. It is, I sometimes am like, oh my goodness, I had a lot of dreams for what this would look like, but the Lord has truly done exceedingly abundantly above all I could ask or imagine in the academy because it is the most amazing community of Christian women who are coaching. So, now that the housekeeping is out of the way, let's actually get into episode 27 when you're overwhelmed. So, back to my rite of passage badge of honor as a mom of five and having multiple six-figure businesses, I am here to tell you that I woke up this morning and I'm actually going to get some of the thoughts that I woke up thinking and some ways that I woke up feeling. If you're not familiar with the creation cycle, created by Edie Wadsworth, Dr. Edie Wadsworth, or the model that I am trained in. I'm actually trained in both of these techniques, but the model through Brooke Castillo, one thing that I do daily and that I would have you do daily as a client is self coaching, cleaning out your brain, just like you floss your teeth. You floss your brain, you floss your thoughts, and see what's there because it's a really difficult way to live life is if you're not taking every thought captive. So that is something I do every day. And so I just want to wake up. I mean, I want to share with you how I woke up thinking today so that you know at whatever level you find yourself in terms of revenue or business or motherhood or marriage, even when things are going so well, you're going to still wake up with a human brain that might stink just like your breath. Okay. In the morning. So, one of the things I said, which is so hysterical because, especially those of you who listen to this podcast and send me messages of just how thankful you are that I started this podcast and that I show up and share what I share, even when I don't want to share, let's be honest. And so that truly means the world to me. As a matter of fact, just last week, Corey reached out and said, "Thank you so much." I don't have the direct quote in front of me, but she just basically said, "Thank you so much for starting the podcast and sharing." She was like, "I am going to admit that I have been binging every episode, and I am looking forward to the Academy opening again because I cannot wait to start." So I'm so, so grateful when you let me know. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you have this podcast because there are days, even like today, that I'm like, oh, I got to record this. So here we are talking about it. So here are the thoughts that I woke up with. Okay. And okay. It is funny looking back after a couple cups of coffee and a bunch of other things throughout the day. I'm like, oh, that's so funny. But these are the things you're going to think sometimes. And I just want to be honest about that. One, I don't have anything to offer. I can't help people. Now, mind you, I just shared two stories of $30,000 plus that has already been made in the last 2 or 3 months by women that I offer my help to. Oh, then here's the next thought. This is hysterical. This isn't working. Okay. I already said that. It clearly is working. I don't have anything new or fresh. I'm literally working on new and fresh things right now, but I didn't see that this morning. My brain was like, no, you're not. You're terrible. Go back to bed. Um, Oh, here with the see, then so we call it the thought beneath the thought. So then here's the other thought that came up. When I turn around, it's going to be another week of this. And by another week of this, here's what I actually mean. Feeling like keeping people fed and clothed and the places that they need to be and prepared for the things I must answer to as like a mom of kids in school. Like, here's their paperwork, here's their physical, here's their school supplies. Like, it's been a lot, right? And I was like, oh, that's the thought beneath the thought because then some things in my business weren't able to be gotten to. Everything's great, everything's going to be fine. And those are my priorities. And so that is what I will always teach and preach is that and coach is that these are my priorities. And so when I found that that was technically the thought, when I turn around, it's going to be another week of this, which we moms know it is going to be another week of this. I was felt tired, unmotivated, exhausted, anxious, apprehensive, and then it hit me. What I felt was overwhelmed. And it's like, oh, well, as a business coach and as a life coach, I am not allowed to feel overwhelmed. No, I must, go forth in courage and bravery and be all things to all people also, I get caught up in that sometimes too. And so then when I realized, oh, that was the thought beneath the thought and the feeling beneath the feelings was just overwhelm. I was like, oh, so I dug in a little more because we seem to think that, once the bed's made, once the lunches are made, and once dinner's prepped, and once we've done that again, and then we do it again for the next week, that's when things will feel settled. That's when I can work in my business. That's where I'm going to be able to get X, Y, or Z done for my business. That's when it's going to be easier, right? Because it's calmer and quieter and less mayhem, if you will. And so I kind of dug into some more of those thoughts. And it was that even when, here's the deal, when I'm recognizing, oh, I'm actually just feeling overwhelmed. Because even when I think it's going to be settled or quiet or routine or rhythmed or orderly in a few days, excuse me, it won't be. You know why? Because there's going to be school trips. There's going to be birthday parties. Those things are going to require like a level of planning, like go get the gift, go get the things for this trip. There's going to be sickness. And in our family, that takes about 2 weeks to go through everybody. So that's 2 weeks of like interruption, lack of sleep, taking care of people, kind of doing something out of the ordinary that's atypical. But when there's this many of us, it's like, oh, it's not atypical for us to be somebody be sick every month, right? And then it's just the way it is. You moms of many know this. Once again, it's the badge of honor and the rite of passage. And then it was like, and then for not having somebody sick or like a trip or like birthday parties and all of those things, well, then you have just regular like dentist appointments and ortho appointments. Literally, right before I recorded this podcast, my 10-year-old came in. This is so hysterical and so timely because he's like, "Oh, I'm not gonna do good in 5th grade because I, cannot read cursive." And so his sister, who's going into 6th grade, is like they come into the office, by the way, the closet, and they get the whiteboard and they take it out, and she's teaching him cursive, but no, it cannot be simple like that in our family because guess what? He did something. I still don't have the full story, and the wire of his braces is now bent up into the top of his gum area. Okay. So there aren't just scheduled ortho appointments. There are also, I mean, this isn't an emergency, but this is like, oh, we're going to actually have to be seen before the next appointment because now we have a wire that's like all bent out of whack because of something he did while just a normal, harmless activity of learning to read cursive was taking place. So it's foolish of me to think that life's going to be any different than it is now. And the only thing that can be different are going to be my thoughts. By the way, did I tell you we have 4 dogs here right now and we're building a house? So adjustments will need to be made, beginning with my thoughts, right? My thinking will need to be adjusted. But that doesn't negate the fact that we, you, me, I, myself, we are going to all have feelings of overwhelm. And if we don't allow ourselves to recognize that and to be aware and to process and feel just basic overwhelm, if we jump over it, we jump over the growth. We jump over leaning into the Holy Spirit. Because literally another thought I have was this level of energy and preparation is unattainable. I told Bray the other day, I was like, I honestly feel like I felt when I had like Lyme's and mono, but I think that's just like how I'm going to feel at 44 with 5 kids and busy lives of sports and extracurriculars and friends and fellowship. Like we have a very full and blessed life that requires a lot of planning and preparation to like make happen smoothly. Bray says that I have unrealistic expectations for that. And I'm like, well, do you want to eat? Like, because that requires like the planning and then going to the store. And like those are just hours in the day and hours in the week. So anyway, and then I said, I can't figure all of this out. I don't even know how to do it better or more efficiently or more loving or more enjoyable. Let's be honest. And so some of the thoughts I had were, and I like was like writing it out. Like, what does this actually look like? When I'm saying I feel overwhelmed, what am I looking at in life? Okay. And this is just not even all of it. This doesn't even include the 17 different group me app that I'm on. If you don't know what group me is, it's like a texting communication app that's separate than like your text thread. So I know I'm about to have like 4 different class text threads in addition to like I think I have like 5 ongoing group me threads right now. There's like because my older 2, they're 14 and 15. I know y'all are about to be shocked, but they don't have cell phones. So I Uber and I am the cell phone. I am the cell phone actually. Oh, that makes sense. I'm the cell phone. Okay. So, so there's all of that. So it's like, how do I run and grow and build and scale this business and manage food and lunches and dinners and breakfast? Now, my kids do a ton, y'all. Like they have so many responsibilities, but when they're going to be at school from 7:10 to 7:30 because of volleyball and or youth group Monday through Friday, I want to be able to help them not be as overwhelmed and stressed as possible because they're already doing a ton. They've been babysitting this summer. They've volunteered for church things. They've led events. Like they're doing a lot. Like they're not just sitting around. So this is something I want to be able to do as often and as able as I can. So then we're managing the pickup schedules. Literally in the summer, I would get my glasses on because I can't see my phone anymore. And at night, I would go through who goes where the next day. And like, does Bray take? Do I take? How do we consolidate our trips? Because, we live about 25 minutes outside of town in the country, right? So it's definitely worth it, but it's a lot. So how do I manage the chaos and the mayhem? How do I manage volleyball and soccer and a mini golf tournament league, right? Not for myself, by the way. These are just for the children. How do I manage the things that are always needed? Have y'all noticed that? You're like, wait, I thought we just went to the store. How did we not know that so and so needed X, Y, or Z type post it notes? Like, why did we not know that yesterday? Okay, so those things are going to come up, and that takes a little strategy and planning, moms. You know that. Even if you're scheduling a Target or a Walmart or a Sam's pickup, you have to stop what you're doing, get it in there. You've already forgotten your password. You got to reset it. Like, it's just giving a mouse a cookie, okay, all day, every day. Not to mention managing sleep and fun and actual life, right? Even though that is actual life, but how do we do so well? And so I think I just want to encourage you today that, last week, if you felt what I touched on last week, unmotivated and uninspired, and if this week maybe you're also feeling overwhelmed and you're wondering, how do I manage all of my life and being a mom or being the grandmother that you want to be? There are a lot of grandmothers in our group, or empty nesters, or, your husband's retired and now you're starting this new thing. I have a lot of that as well in the group. And so it's like, how do we manage those things and do what we know God's called us to do that we're super excited and passionate about as it relates to coaching when we have life that can feel overwhelming at times? And so, what I just want to leave you with is what I left myself with. And that is one, just acknowledge, give yourself time to coach yourself and figure out, what am I actually thinking and actually feeling that's showing up right now? For me, that was overwhelmed. I can't tell you the last time that I've actually described myself as feeling overwhelmed. That's just not a feeling that I feel much anymore. So it must take a lot and mean there's a lot going on for me to feel overwhelmed. So I've acknowledged it. I'm aware. I'm allowing myself to just be vulnerable and transparent and honest about it. Like, oh, wow, this is pretty overwhelming, people. But also know that I have the ability to manage my mind, to lean into the Holy Spirit, who we know gives us strength when we don't actually, like, I'm like, oh, okay, from here forward, children, husband, from here forward, anything that happens from me, through me, is actually just going to be the Holy Spirit, because I'm zapped out at this moment. And we have yet to get started, by the way, barely getting started. So acknowledge it, be aware of it, allow yourself to process it. Don't skip over it, because that's where the work of leaning in and being transformed gets to take place, when we're not fully operating in our own strength, but saying, oh, here's where I surrender. Here's where the Lord has to take over. And that in and of itself will bring so much relief. That's one of my favorite emotions, is the feeling of relief, peace, and calm, and trust, and capability. As a matter of fact, I actually listed out And this is just a small component of what's making it easier. And some of you like meal people, this is going to be easy for you, but that is not an easy area of life for me. Granted, I had my house cleaned today. My house gets cleaned every Monday and my laundry gets done. So I am not doing everything myself. But food, I want to be able to do because I think that I can save more money. I mean, we have food services here. I had someone helping me this time last year. There's another person in town I know that like does things that you can buy in town. Did y'all hear that? There's some people in town that do this. But honestly, like I am actually good at the planning and the purchasing. I'm terrible at the execution, but this is just going to have to be a priority. So I'll follow up on that. I don't know. I know that I've gotten this far before where I have a list of like right now I have 26 dinner meals to rotate. And when I say dinner meals to rotate, y'all, I'm also having to think through like what am I going to be able to cook early in the day and put in containers to take with us for all of the different activities so that we're just not eating on the go all the time. This is part of me showing up for myself and for my business and for my family in the way I desire. And so this is a result that I'm going to be working on in my life because this is not something that's easy for me. And I have to be more diligent and strategic. And I do know that my business is at a place that it has grown and it is scaling. And it's okay for me to let what has already been working continue to work while I figure out some of these other things to make our home life as it has been, or as it needs to be, or as I desire it to be as the mom and the wife God's created me to be. And we all operate in different strengths and different desires in what that looks like. Like it doesn't necessarily say in the Bible, you must cook for your family every day, but that is just a way that I want to serve. And so look at the ways that you desire to serve. You serving your family may be a meal service right now or what have you. For me, it has been in the past, but it's not right now. This is just an area that I want to serve my family and my husband and show up in peace and in calm. And the way to do that, the first way to do that is just to acknowledge when you are feeling overwhelmed. So, all that to say, I don't feel overwhelmed now. I self coached, I leaned in and surrendered to the Holy Spirit, to the Word, and made a plan. And I am also aware, oh, this may be a season of overwhelm and it's going to pop back up. And so, here's how I'm going to handle it. And then I'm going to go forward and I'm going to show up and I'm going to serve my clients. I'm going to coach my clients. I'm going to prepare for our in person business retreat in October. And I'm just going to trust and believe that I am 100% exactly where and who I'm supposed to be right now. And so are you. Talk to you soon. Bye.